Everyone. Welcome to the Beef Up Front podcast. Today I am joined by second-time guest Brendan O'Donnell and first-time, long-time Connor McDermott. Boys, how are we
What's up,
doing?
everyone?
Doing good.
Doing pretty well.
You guys been holding in there with school and whatnot?
Yeah, it's pretty tough with all these classes online and stuff. It's not the same, but hanging in there. So everything's been fine.
Lots of COD runs, lots of 2K runs. You know how it is.
Yeah. All right. So for this podcast, from three short white guys from playing basketball their whole life, we're gonna be talking about a lot of basketball, primarily NBA, and we're gonna throw some college in there as well. So we thought a cool segment to do for tonight's show would be we're doing NBA all-time draft where each of us are gonna draft 5 players. This is like live, so we don't know who each other are picking. It's going to be kind of best guy on the board if based off our rankings, stuff like that. We're just gonna bash out these 15 picks, give our thoughts on each, and then at the end, we're gonna post on my Instagram, my Twitter. I think Brendan and Connor might post as well. We're gonna put out our teams and see who you guys think are the best teams out of this draft. So for our draft order, we're doing a snake order, and so that means we have Brendan picking first, Connor picking, and me, and then I'll start off the second round. Then it'll be Connor and Brendan, and so on. So we fill up those 15 picks, and we each pick our 5 players. And we didn't do like just picking 5. Like you can't pick LeBron, Jordan, Kobe, kind of because they all play the same spot. It's position based, so everyone's gonna have a point guard, shooting guard, a small forward, a power forward, and a center. The forwards can be interchangeable, but we're going to try and stick to position base as much as possible. So with that being said, we're going to start off our draft, and Brendan O'Donnell will have the first pick.
All right. All right. So this was an easy one for me. I'm going to pick the greatest player to ever live. I'm going to pick LeBron James. He's at 30-some years old. He's still one of the best player in the league. He made 8 straight finals, and he's been all NBA his entire career. So that was an easy one for me. He's going to be my small forward. And he basically can play all 5 positions, so I'm not worried about him handling the ball or guarding anyone big. So he's going to be my starting small forward. It was an easy pick for me. I'm going to pick the GOAT, LeBron.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you can't disagree with that one. So maybe Connor disagrees. He would have picked Jordan, but I'm a LeBron guy through and through. I think that would.
As am I. Yeah.
All right, so next pick will be Connor, and he has the second pick in the draft. All right, Connor, who are you taking at number 2 overall?
All right, so number 2 was the pick I didn't really want in this draft, and I might do something here that a lot of people wouldn't call the right move to do. But you know what? I'm running this team, and I'm going to throw a curveball in this draft early. And with the second pick, I'm going to be taking Kevin Durant.
Wow. That throws my draft board out.
I think he's just the most offensively talented player of all time. I mean, he can do it all on the floor. And I'm going to try to build a great team around him. So, yeah, Kevin Durant is my first pick.
You see, all the research and analysis I've been doing, I've had Jordan going there for the longest time after I assumed LeBron to be a 1, but my draft board's out of whack now. You're kind of throwing me into a spiral. So does anyone want to trade up to the third? I feel like I could get some value in the later rounds. Well, I guess that leaves me no other choice but to take third with the 3rd overall pick. I will be taking Michael Jordan, the guard from the Chicago Bulls. people in many circles, the old school people kind of always deem Jordan as the GOAT. I mean, personally, never being able to watch him play, I've always thought, how could anyone be better at the game of basketball than LeBron James? But a lot of people deem Jordan as that. Great scorer, great defender, and a great leader. I think that might have been his best attribute. And he's going to be the workhorse on my team. He's going to be our key cog, and I think getting him at the third overall pick is some great value. I'm actually going to slot him in though as my starting small forward. 6'6", he could defend the wing, he could defend the guard. So that leaves open room for my second pick for my shooting guard.
I think we're gonna find out.
What were you saying?
I was gonna say I think we're gonna find out a lot more about Jordan with this documentary that's coming out.
Yeah,
And I'm excited for.
I heard on he was on an interview on like ABC Good Morning America today. He said like a lot of people are gonna think a lot less of him, and his reputation might go to shit after this video. But it's gonna be kind of cool to see that
it wasn't the best reputation before.
Yeah,
I agree.
I'm a firm believer that his dad was killed because he owed gambling money, but
I don't know about that.
There are conspiracies about it, and I could definitely see it. But with my second pick, in the fourth overall pick of the draft, I'm going to take the great Kobe Bryant. Obviously, tragedy, losing him earlier in the year, but one of the 5 greatest players of all time. Kind of modeled his game after Jordan when it came to being a leader, being like an asshole with his teammates, where he would accept nothing but the best from them. He could score at will. He could defend. He was a tenacious, just overall player. He never was really great at creating for his teammates, but as a shooting guard, I don't think you really need to do that. And at 6'5", 6'6", he had good size where he could defend multiple positions and he could shoot the ball as well. So I think with my 2 first picks, getting Kobe, Jordan, 2 guys who could score at will and want the ball in the clutch, it could get in the last shot.
Who gets that last shot? Yeah.
I was gonna say, imagine them on the same team.
Yeah,
that'd be insane. They would.
But 2
they'd
guys
probably kill each other, but
spearheading your lineup, like no one's gonna want to play you. I feel like everyone's gonna be kind of
definitely 100%.
So,
2 killers out there.
Yep.
I'm gonna start my team off with Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. That'll move on to Connor for the next pick, the 5th overall pick. So Connor, who are we taking here?
All right, so I think I'm going with another unorthodox move here. I'm drafting a player to put alongside KD that, they've proved they can win together and not lose when healthy. I'm taking Steph Curry here. I'm pairing Steph and KD up. The shooting with the spacing with them 2 shooting on the court is almost unguardable. It might be a little bit early for Steph. Maybe could have waited around, but I had a feeling Brendan might have jumped on him with LeBron there. He would have going to slide Steph there instead of Magic. So I had to go with Steph here, and I think it's a great fit. And they proved they can win together. So, and he's the best shooter of all time. So you can't go wrong, I don't think.
I think this is one of the rare picks in this draft where you'll actually have 2 guys who played together at one point in their career.
Yeah.
So we've already seen proven success from them, and Steph is arguably the best shooter of all time. Pairing him in a lineup with Kevin Durant. I mean, we've seen how that's been before, and Connor wants to continue to build around that in his lineup. Brendan, do you got anything, or you want to move on to your pick?
Yeah, that's who I was going to take. That kind of changes things up for me. I wasn't sure if you're going to take him since we often tease Steph a lot, but he's just an unbelievable shooter, and I would have had him with LeBron. So, yep, I'm ready.
All right. Who are you going to hit on with this pick?
Okay, so like I said, that kind of threw off my draft. But I'm just gonna. I have to take. I'm gonna take Magic. I know that might be a little difficult with LeBron and Magic on the same team because they're ball dominant. But he's just an unbelievable player. I guess my team's gonna be. My 5 is gonna be. They're gonna be able to pass the ball a ton. No selfishness. His career numbers were a little cut short due to the HIV, but champion, just an unbelievable player. So I got Magic at my 1, and then him and LeBron can flip flop because they're both at least 6'9", so both can handle the ball.
You pairing them two up is similar to what Coyle did with pairing Kobe and Jordan. I mean, those two are well compared.
Yeah.
And interesting lineups going across the board.
I think if this lineup, or if Brendan, if your lineup was back in Magic's day, I think we would kind of be in the lead right now with the way you've built your team. But I think Connor's team is more suited to play in today's NBA with the 3-point shoot. Because
you're definitely
LeBron and Magic have never been the greatest 3-point shooters throughout their career, but I think that team would be very fun when it comes to running the fast break and sharing the ball.
Hey, but the draft's not done, so we'll see.
All right.
Definitely 1 and 2 right there in playmaking.
We're going to move on to the 6th pick. Brendan, you're picking again.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Gotta go again.
Who are we looking at with our 6th pick after taking a point guard and a small forward to start it off?
Okay, so I'm definitely gonna need some shooting in my lineup. So I'm gonna slide LeBron back to the 4. And I'm gonna.
Oh,
can I do that?
It's big.
I think it's fair.
Big change, but yes, you can do it.
Okay. Yeah. All right, thank you. I'm gonna take Larry Bird. I definitely need. Yeah, interesting pick, but I need the first white guy on the board, the best white guy of all time. So I'm gonna take Larry Bird. He averaged 24 and 10. He was a guy that also his career got cut short from some injuries. But actually, a lot of people say that Larry Bird was a lot like Jordan and Kobe in the way that he was just like a killer. And just an unbelievable shooter. Mm-hmm. He made the All-Star team 12 out of 13 years. So it's an interesting pick. I didn't want to take him, but I really need shooting. So I'm going to slide LeBron to the 4 and then put Larry at the 3.
Larry was a guy back in his day who he lived and breathed the game. He was an ultimate pure basketball guy.
Indiana guy.
Definitely a guy I think that you would want on your side, opposed to he's one of those guys that you probably would hate if he was on the other team, but if he was on your side, you're definitely for it. All right, we're gonna move on to Connor with the 6th overall pick. Connor, who we got here?
All right, so for this pick, I got my shooters outside, space of 4. Now I'm looking for a guy that can really bang down low. And I think I'm going to go with the most dominant player, arguably the most dominant player of all time, Shaquille O'Neal here. He's going to bring the physicality to the team that we need, and I think he's just a perfect pick. The slot there at the center position. So, yeah, Shaquille O'Neal.
Are you worried about the free throw percentage?
You know what? I think they've almost fixed the hack a Shaq rule in the NBA.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm not too worried about it. I'm hoping, he's as dominant in this era as he was, but, it's hard to say.
I was kind of surprised by Shaq. I thought with this lineup, you kind of might have been going with the more modern offensive style with all the 3-point shooting. I don't really know how Shaq's going to fit in with Steph and KD.
Yeah. We'll have to work out some kinks with the coaching staff. Hire a good coach back there on the team.
It all comes down to coaching at the end of the day.
Yeah. Do we draft a coach here?
I mean, we could.
Yeah, we can do that. We'll do that.
In the Would You Rather segment, we do talk coaches. Actually, we will draft a coach, but the rule is you have to draft a coach from the Suburban One. So
Deal.
It can't be your own coach either.
Yeah, it can't be your own coach. So will Matt Hyland get picked? Will Jim D'Onofrio be selected? That remains to be seen. I feel like we should add a sixth man as well, but he has to be a Suburban One player too.
Whatever you guys want.
I don't hate it.
It'll make you think. It'll make you think on your feet. All right. I now have I have back-to-back picks. So. So this pick, after taking Kobe and Michael as my two like wing guard players, many of you might be thinking that I'd go point guard, but actually I'm going to go center and I'm going to take Al Horford. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna take Steve Nash as my point guard.
Interesting.
That might be a little high, and considering you guys took your point guards, but Steve Nash, I just think is the consummate, at least from our era, the consummate point guard that you want. He's going to take care of the ball. He knows how to run a team, and he can score at will. I believe he won an MVP one year, and he was always the key guy for the Suns. Two-time MVP. Yeah,
two MVPs.
Yeah.
What surprise!
I think he averaged like 22 points per game, but.
And he could always shoot the three too, and he was at a small frame, and he was just a very impressive point guard. One lack of him that he never had the greatest athleticism or defense, but with Kobe and Michael, like the two competitors like that, I think getting a point guard who doesn't have to play defense is kind of one of the strong suits. Like if I was matched up against, just say Connor, I could stick Kobe or Michael on Steph Curry. Steve Nash could kind of just guard like the worst player on the court, especially in today's NBA with the positionless basketball. But I think Steve Nash is just a great overall point guard and a guy that you want to have running the team.
Not a bad pick. You got a second one coming up.
Yeah, so with my second pick, back to the theme song. My second pick, I'm going to. I don't understand why a lot of people bash on this guy, because of the era he played in. Some people are saying he was playing against your local mailman or your local, like, mail delivery.
Connor's the type person to say that.
Drive-through worker, whatever you want. Yeah. Plumber.
Grocery store bagger, but
Yeah.
I think you got to go Wilt Chamberlain here. I think he's the best center of all time. One season he averaged like 50 points and like 25 rebounds. Like I don't care like if you're playing at the YMCA, if you're putting up 50 and 25, like those are freaking dominant numbers, and I'm gonna want Wilt Distilled as my center. He can't. I mean, centers didn't really shoot the ball that much from the outside during his heyday, but he's going to control the glass and he's going to score down low at will. He scored 100 points in one game. I mean, what else could you ask for? So, and especially with having a point guard like Steve Nash, who's going to get our team into offense, and if he thinks Wilt has a mismatch down low, he's going to get him the ball. And his length, I think he's a great rim protector. And I think with our team so far, we're the most elite defensive unit out there. Steve Nash might be the only liability, but I like the team I'm building so far. Defense wins championships, Brendan. Don't forget that.
I just think it's coincidence that I'm pretty sure there was like no cameras at his 100-point game. Like it wasn't filmed. It was like the one game it wasn't filmed.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's questionable.
They played in Hershey. There's no cameras out there still.
I actually got like a piece of the floor. Hold up. I got it at a Sixers game. I don't even know when. Pretty cool though. Got Will and then a piece of the floor he scored 100 on right here.
That's a fake floor. He didn't score 100.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, did he actually score 100? Is that just a random piece of wood? I don't know.
I think that was the piece of floor from Upper Marion High School before they redid the gym. But
No, his stats really, like, when you look at them, they just don't make any sense. Like,
yeah, it was him and Bill Russell. I don't know if any of you guys plan to take Bill Russell, but those are the two stats you look at. And
what was he have, like 9 championships?
9 championships in 1 year. He averaged like 33 and like 25. Like what? It really makes you think. Like, could we have been NBA prospects if we were born in 1960?
It's crazy.
But
I considered it.
all right. So far, Connor has Steph Curry at the point, KD at the small forward, and Shaq at the center, and he is now on the clock again. All right, Connor, who are you going to take?
So I'm kind of stuck in a situation here. I have 2 players in mind, but based on defending, if I'm going up against Brendan's lineup, I'm leaning towards one player, and I think it would be Kawhi Leonard, just because of the way he would be able to defend, and like if we have KD and Kawhi the 3 and 4, we'd match up better than if I were to pick a Tim Duncan or a Karl Malone there, I think. So with this pick, I'm going to go with Kawhi Leonard. He's a proven winner, one of the best defensive players in the league right now, and I think he's just a perfect fit. Problem right there. I think I would. I mean, they're interchangeable, him and KD. I think KD might be more of a 4. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like if you were making that lineup, you probably slot KD at the 4 just because of his height, and KD and Kawhi at the wing because of. I'll make that change in your lineup, but I just think because you probably have Kawhi guarding the other team's best player on the wing, and KD is just with his height, he's more suited to guard the taller player down low.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Kawhi Leonard.
He was one of the guys I was thinking about taking, but I feel like a lot of like at least old school basketball people would kind of bash on that pick. I know Nick Wright, especially from Fox Sports, hates Kawhi and like thinks he's like not good just because he doesn't get triple doubles. But I mean, I feel like you can't undermine his value, especially after last year's championship run where he just did everything for the Raptors.
That series against the Sixers was one of the best series I've ever seen anyone play. Like, besides LeBron.
I was at Game 4 of that series, and I've never seen a player just take over the game.
Is that when he hit the 3 at like late to like
and like
4 or 5 or something like that?
Yeah, we win that game. We win the series. We go up 3-1.
Yeah, no, Game 4 is the reason.
Yeah.
I remember watching it in my dorm room. Tobias Harris, we were up like 7 or something. Tobias Harris misses an open 3. We would have gone up 10 with like 4 minutes left. Yeah. He misses a wide open 3. Raptors go on the run. We would have won the series if we win that game.
Can I ask you guys a question? So if Kawhi misses that shot, we win that game. Are we NBA champions that year?
I mean, in my opinion, if everything happens the way it does, all the Warriors players get hurt, I think we get through the Bucks, and I think we win. Because we're not losing to Steph Curry.
I'm a big believer in like every like step you take each day like will define your day. So like who knows if like Klay Thompson tears his ACL, like every step like you take, like it'll differ.
I'm taking that into account though. So
yeah, I think if we play that disheveled Warriors team and Jimmy Butler plays as he was towards the end of the playoffs and Joel isn't being sick or whatever is wrong with him.
Yeah. It's basically a matter of us. Are we getting to the Bucks? And I think we are.
Yeah.
The way we were playing.
That's a sad thing about this year. I think the Sixers, as much as they struggled, I think that they're built to play against the Bucks because they have multiple players, including how bad Horford's played this year. I think he's a great matchup against Giannis. I think you can throw Ben against him. And I think Tobias even you could throw against him. Or Matisse at certain times.
Even Joel played well against him on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Christmas Day
The only thing is if you get the Sixers outside of their building, who are you really getting?
Yeah, but like the road thing, I feel like that's different in the playoffs. Like in the regular season, if you're going to like Charlotte, like it's the regular season game, but if you're playing like in Miami in a game 6 in the playoffs on the road, like I feel like it's just different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I thought the road thing was a little overrated.
If I'm playing the Hornets on like a Tuesday night on like the
Yeah.
65th game of the season, like, all right, who gives a shit if we win? But like,
Yeah, exactly.
I'll ramp up for this.
I mean, it was ridiculous how bad they were on the road, but I think that's a little overrated. But
okay, we're gonna move back to the draft here. Brendan has 2 consecutive picks.
okay, so my next pick, sorry. So my next pick is going to be my center. I'm going to take Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And it's another guy I didn't like really want to take, but like his stats are just absolutely ridiculous. From 1970 to 1987, he was averaging more than 20 points per game, like 17 years. It's just a crazy amount. And everyone knows he's an all-time leader in points. I'm sure the other guy on my team is going to pass him eventually. But 6 MVPs, he's made 19 All-Star games. I feel like the all-time leading scorer has to be on at least one of our teams, so I'm going to take him with my 4th pick.
I saw a stat today. If I read it right, it said LeBron like averaging 25 points per game, like 16 seasons in a row. I think since he came in the league.
Yeah,
or maybe not his rookie year. It's just insane.
I think the most insane LeBron stat. I feel like it always like it'll pop up like every like 5 playoff games, but it's like LeBron James has scored over 10 points in like 1,050 games in a row. And I always think like, oh, 10 points, that's not that much. But if you really think about it, like,
yeah,
10 points in over 1,000 straight games, like, because that means like you have to like not get hurt, not get in like serious foul trouble.
Yeah, like
I find that
how many
insane.
guys like get banged up in the first quarter, like, and then just come out with 6 points? Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah, like you could like easily turn an ankle in the first quarter with like 4 points and not get that.
Yeah.
The only like injuries LeBron has had is that like one back injury in Cleveland where he missed like 20 games and like last season. Other than that, he's been completely healthy, I feel like, his whole career.
Yeah. During this whole quarantine, I've just been like finding like crazy LeBron graphics on Twitter and just storing them. And I think I'm just going to unload them all on Twitter one day. It's going to be insane.
Make a LeBron account.
Yeah.
All right.
This is a tough one.
Brendan, before you make your next pick, you have 1 spot left on your roster as we approach the final round. The shooting guard slot is wide open for you.
Okay.
Who are you going to give the crunch time for a clutch 3-pointer?
Larry Bird. I got to shoot. So I'm going to take – I have to. I don't really have any other choice. I'm going to take Wade. He played with LeBron, so that's pretty cool that he's on my team. Just the chemistry there. But just
teammate. Yep.
Yeah. He has 3 rings. Just a great slasher. Before actually LeBron got there, and when he won with Shaq, he was just an unbelievable player. I think he averaged like at least 30 some in that finals. He's a great defender, 11-time All-Star, and he's great. Yeah, 3-time All-Defensive player. So first team. So yeah, Dwayne Wade's gonna round out my roster. So that makes it. I have Magic, Wade, Larry Bird, LeBron, and then Kareem. So that's my 5.
That's a tough 5 to beat.
Yep.
When it comes to this debate, I'm going to find it hard for a lot of people to vote against that team. But
thank you.
I'm going to make a case. I'm going to make a case for my team.
I feel like my team is with like accolades and like overall like history of the game. My team like is really like while you're like Coyle said, it's so modern. So
yeah,
it's gonna be tough to vote on.
Brennan, you gave yourself the first pick. I mean, I feel like you better have the first pick.
I didn't give myself it. You chose the order.
I flipped the coin. But yeah, I think yours based off of history
Yeah.
the best lineup. But once again, it all depends kind of what era we're playing in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you look at your team, other than Larry Bird, like who on your team is really a great outside shooter?
That's the one weakness I would have. But I mean, LeBron. Like, if say LeBron now,
you have a
he's
bunch
a
of
really
like
good shooter
skillful
still.
shooters.
Magic wasn't great. Wade wasn't a 3-point shooter. So yeah, it's the weakness of my team.
I found it interesting. None of us for our centers took a guy who can shoot the three. I would probably say that their combined 3-point percentage over their career is below 10%.
Yeah, easily.
But all right, we'll move on to last pick. He also needs a shooting guard.
Yeah.
Who we got?
This is a really tough pick for me. I mean, I think the best shooting guard available is not somebody that would exactly fit. He's very ball dominant, but at the end of the day, he might be one of the best isolation scorers of all time. It's a questionable move for this lineup. He doesn't really fit, but I'm going to have to go with him. And there's a lot of haters towards him. James Harden.
Wow.
So,
Jamie.
I don't know. It's tough. I like James Harden, but he is known for not showing up in the postseason. A lot of people don't like the style of basketball he plays, but he can put the ball in the hoop. He was averaging like 35 a game this year, or something around there, like the most in a long time.
Yeah, I found that crazy last year. I followed college more, but at the end of the NBA year, when I saw he was averaging like 36 a game, I was taken back by that. That's just insane.
And a bunch of assists. So
yeah.
I don't know. It'd be interesting to see those guys play together. Because Steph and KD are really good at moving the ball and unselfish, but Harden keeps that ball in his hand often. But I don't know. I had to go with him there.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely the most modern lineup. All these guys played post at least 2000. I don't remember when Shaq retired, but at least post 2008, all of these guys have been playing since. I feel like this Connor's lineup fits best for today's NBA.
Yeah, I have a exact target for when I get my votes. Recency bias people.
Yeah. If you're looking to win the voting poll, you probably got it.
You got crazy shooting too, so.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna move on to my last pick. I'm gonna miss that theme song. I'm very upset. I got a 1 year ago today memory on my Snapchat of it was yesterday last year when Sixers were playing the Nets in the playoffs and my boy Mike Scott was balling out and we kept getting that music. But at the power forward position, I'm going to go with Kevin Garnett. Garnett. The only downfall in his game was he was never much of an outside threat, but he's a great athlete. Looking at like your guys' other teams, at least when he was like very young player in like his prime, I think he could match up against LeBron pretty well. I think he could guard Kevin Durant at least solidly. He's a great rebounder, a great post scorer, and I feel like both of your guys 4 and 5s with LeBron and Kareem, Kevin Durant and Shaq. I think my 4 and 5s would at least dominate them on the offensive end because Durant and James are not historically great post defenders. But Garnett was also a great athlete and I feel like with a point guard like Steve Nash, if Garnett's running the floor, he could get him the ball down the court. And like I was saying earlier, Garnett's a great defender throughout his career. He just entered the Hall of Fame this year, and I feel like he would solidify my lineup. I was thinking about maybe going Tim Duncan here, but I just don't know how well he would match up against some of the other lineups, guarding LeBron or KD out on the perimeter.
It's interesting. You chose the traditional power forward, and me and Connor chose.
Yeah.
the power forwards that can shoot from the outside. So
yeah.
it's
I was
interesting.
thinking of picking Dirk here as well, just because
I
of his
thought
outside shooting.
I would
Shooting.
take Duncan but yeah.
My
KG.
outside shooting I think is definitely the least. Or me and Brendan probably are. I mean, Connors has definitely the best shooting lineup, but me and Brendan, I think, have. You could argue who has a worse shooting team. But if we're playing down post bully ball, I think my team has the edge and as well on the defensive end. But I mean, we can leave it up to the voters at the end of the show to decide.
Yeah, it'll be on my Instagram. So
yeah,
definitely my story as well. KJ also a great actor. I don't know if you guys saw Uncut Gems. Great movie.
I have not seen it.
Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler, and it just came out in like December. I think it's hitting Netflix soon.
Is he like a main character?
Yeah, it's like Adam Sandler. He's like a big bettor, and the main guy he's like talking to is Kevin Garnett. You got to watch it. I really liked it, and it's like he plays himself, so he didn't really have to do much acting. But
yeah, my one friend, he knows who he is. Spoiled it for me. So.
Yeah. You told me this.
All right. Well, that'll do it for our draft segment.
Are we drafting Suburban One coaches?
Oh yeah. Wait, we can do that. We can do that. We'll run through that quick. We can each pick. So Brendan, you can go first. You can pick your head coach and your six man and head coach both being from the Suburban One during your playing days.
Yep.
We can just go through the list. So pick a head coach and a six man. The six man is someone that you went up against during your playing days.
I'm gonna go with Wilson from Wissahickon. I actually forget. Yeah. I actually forget his first name. Kyle. Okay.
Yeah, great.
Big X is a guy.
Yeah. Just playing against Wissahickon, they were always like really tough to beat. Again, they didn't always have the greatest athletes or players, but just like they were always coached real well. And he's just like a nice guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
He
was someone you probably would have liked playing for.
Yeah. My friend Kevin played AAU, and he was his coach, and he didn't have a bad word to say about him. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Kyle Wilson. So will we play in the Suburban One?
We'll go through the coaches first.
Yeah.
We'll do a sneak that way. Coach. All right, so I'm a big anti PW guy.
Don't do it.
But he'd probably be the right pick here. Yeah. I did like Cheltenham's coach a lot. I forget his name.
John Timms.
Timms? Yeah, something. Yeah. He was a great coach. But I think the right pick here is going with Donofrio. I mean, he loads that roster every year. You know, he brings in the guys from Philly illegally. He wins He's won a state championship or two, I think, right? Or at least he's in the district conference.
Yeah, they won in 2010.
Yeah,
back to Jalen Baum.
Got to go with Donofrio and his big rings. He always got those big rings on, so I'm going with Donofrio.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Springfield. No, I'm just kidding. I feel like all 4 of my years, Springfield might at least 2 or 3 out of the 4 years they had a new coach every year, so that was just a revolving door there. But Upper Dublin when I was there wasn't that great, so I guess I'm gonna have to go with Cheltenham as well. Coach John Timms. I don't really know how great of a coach he was, but I knew he was a motivator. He was esteemedly known for bringing them out into like the hallway before the game and getting them all fired up. And especially when you played at Cheltenham, they would come storming out. And he always had the best fit. I think that's a big thing.
He did have some drip to him, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta look good to coach good, I think. And Coach Timms, they were always a solid team. I mean, one of my best high school memories was when we upset them. But he was always one of those guys who I feel like he would always walk up to the other coach and be like, or at least when you would read the Suburban One article the next day, talk about, I respect that program so much. They're such greatly coached team. I always liked him, and I feel like he would have been a kind of a cool guy to play for back in high school.
Cheltenham was the one team I never beat in high school. Just never. We lost to them on a buzzer beater, or not even a buzzer beater. It was a game-winning shot my senior year. But other than that, it was never even really that close. They always had our number.
Yeah,
I heard
Sean,
them.
they had a lot of people's number.
Took them by surprise.
You were surprised?
All
Yeah,
right,
I
Brennan,
mean, who wouldn't be?
who would you pick, Brennan, as your sixth man from?
Wait, are we going snake?
Suburban One?
Yeah, it's your pick.
Oh, okay, yeah, we'll stick with Snake. I guess. If I'm looking to fit on my current roster, I don't feel like I'm gonna take Will Chamberlain out of the game. So, or Michael Jordan. So I might go with guard / forward Jack Clark from Cheltenham.
He's got his coach too. So.
Yeah, and I got his coach. We got the reputation. But he's a very athletic kid. I grew up playing against him, and he was always like kind of shorter, but he was a pure shooter. Once he got into high school and grew up, he formed in a 6'8" player. He's down at LaSalle now. He was a pretty dynamic player his freshman year, and then he hurt his knee. He didn't play his past sophomore year, but he's got long arms, he's got hops, and he's a very athletic kid. I remember my senior year, we were playing them pretty tough, and he kind of just took over. They were throwing him lobs and stuff. And with his height and length and athleticism, I think he could guard 1 through 4. A valuable asset on my team. He could kind of spell Kobe, he could spell Jordan, he could spell Garnett when need be. And he adds some much needed shooting to my team. So that's why I would go with him.
All right. So for my sixth man here, I could get the coach player duo like you did. But I'm kind of leaning towards just a locker room guy. I don't know how many minutes this guy's going to get. I don't want somebody on the bench that's not going to be comfortable with their role in the team. So I'm just going to take the safe pick here. Give me Xavier Malone Key. He can put the ball in the hoop. He's playing. He started off at Ryder, or he started off at Farley Dickinson. Now he's at Ryder.
No, he started at Ryder. Now he's at Fairleigh Dickinson.
Okay. Yeah. So,
are you done?
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah. Just give me Xavier.
I remember. Funny story. Like in the scouting report about Xavier, coach was like, make him shoot. Like he's not a great shooter. Just like he loves to get to the rack. So just force him to shoot the ball. Like keep him on the outside. And I think he had like 4 or 5 threes in the first half. So that plan went to shit. So
yeah, pretty sure that's like his main strength now too.
Yeah, definitely developed that. So I'm gonna go with your boy, Matt Paul.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Yep. Yeah. Tall. Can shoot the 3. He can play the 3 or 4. Plays at Holy Cross now. Nice kid. I think he would be great on my team. So I'm gonna take Matt.
One thing about that pick, so for my school for college we play against Damian Washington at Del Val, and I feel like Matt Fall had a better advantage in high school of just being taller. Where I feel like if him and Damian were playing like against each other or on the same level now, they'd be comparable players. Because Damian's grown to be about 6'6", 6'7", and he can shoot and he can score in the post and take people off the drive. I think they would be comparable players now. But Matt was just like a much taller player and more developed at that stage of high school, and he definitely benefited from that. But I feel like if you swapped him and Damian, it wouldn't be at least that big of a difference right now as it would have been at freshman or sophomore year.
Yeah.
Matt was a very good player in high school. I think I don't know how great he's done at college, but I know Damian has taken his game to the next level. And I mean, it is a difference from D3 to D1, but I think Damian could hold his own up at that level now if he got the same opportunity as Matt coming out of high school.
Yeah, there's always kids like
they're like late bloomers.
Yeah, I don't get how they ended up at certain schools. Like, yeah, I don't know.
We definitely didn't get a little taller.
Yeah, Damien from my junior year when he was a senior till now, he's definitely. I mean, he was always a great shooter, but in high school, that's really all he did. Now he can score in a lot of different ways and play defense, and he grew a lot and got a lot stronger too. So
I saw he's putting up numbers over there.
Yeah. All right. So our next segment we're gonna move into after our draft is where we each pick our three best college basketball teams since 2010. So I'm going to start it off. My number one team was the Villanova team of 2018. They really ran through the NCAA tournament. Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, Eric Paschal, Amari Spellman. That whole group is in the NBA now. Just very dynamic group. They were all Villanova players where they were team guys, shot the ball well, they defended and they took care of the ball, and they were kind of the team that no one wanted to play, I think. And especially they always had one guy who could kill you. Like I said, they have 5 players on that team who are in the NBA now, and they were, as a collective group, they were a great team. But then we saw, like in the title game, you had Dante DiVincenzo go off for 30. You had certain games with Josh Hart where Jalen Brunson could go off as well, and they were just one group like out there. There was no selfish player, and they just executed their system, and that's what eventually led them to the title. My second team that I picked was the Kentucky team of 2012, which was led by Anthony Davis. They had Terrence Jones on the wing. They had Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. And the one thing that stuck out to me about that team, they wound up winning the national title, but the one thing, they didn't really have any like pure shooters or great guards, and they still dominated and ran their way through the SEC. They won SEC regular season, SEC tournament, and even the title game. And obviously, they were spearheaded by Anthony Davis, but who's a post player, and in today's basketball, guard play wins, especially in college. And Anthony Davis was kind of the leader of that group, and he took them to new levels. And with guys like Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, who can't shoot worth a lick, he was a dominant player even, and he played himself into getting the second pick overall. I just remember them running through the SEC. And my third best team was the Kentucky team of 2010 that featured John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins, most notably. That was just one of the best duos I've ever seen in basketball. And especially as freshmen leading that team, he took them to the Elite Eight, but that duo I think could have, if they would have stayed a few more years, they obviously would have progressed more and won national championships, I think. But just your domination standpoint, the duo of Wall and DeMarcus Cousins, that was kind of the first one and done team at Kentucky where they became known as like the prototypical one and done school. And they just found a way to dominate, especially out on the fast break. They were kind of a transcendent team for the one and done era.
For sure. Very similar to my top 3. Should I just get into mine?
Yeah, you can get into yours.
Yeah. So number 1, I also have Villanova. Like you said, 5 NBA players. Really good 6-man rotation with Dante came off the bench, but Phil Booth in there too. One of the best 3-point shooting teams ever. I think they shot over 40% from 3, at least in the tournament. I'm not sure regular season. I think that's just a clear pick for number 1. No bias here, but number 2, I got the 2015 Kentucky team. The undefeated team featuring Cat, Devin Booker, Willie Cauley-Stein, the Harrison twins, Trey Lyles, and Tyler Ulis. That team was just loaded. They got called in a bad day against Wisconsin, Frank Kaminsky and the boys. But that's got to be the best team ever to not win a championship. They went undefeated, lost in the Final Four there. But that team was just unreal. I think 5 first-round picks there between them. I think Ulyss was it was a second rounder. I'm sure. After
Yeah,
but for third,
he stayed, but
yeah.
eventually got drafted. Yeah.
And then third, just like Coyle, I have the 2010 Kentucky team. They lost in the Elite Eight, but it was Calipari's first year there. 5 first-round picks, and yeah, like you said, like they started like the one and done era almost with John Wall, Marcus Cousins, and then they also had Eric Bledsoe and Patrick Patterson. And then, I mean, yeah, it's another loaded team. Kentucky had to start off their dynasty, this blue blood program of loaded teams year in and year out, just not rebuilding and rebuilding what they do. Basically, they live by. So yeah, that's my top 3 college teams since 2010.
All set?
Yep. All you.
All right. So I basically have the 3 teams you guys mentioned. I'm gonna mention this team that I loved. It was the 2010 Louisville team, and they went 35-4. It was just a great, like, their players didn't have like crazy NBA success, but just great college players. The 2 guards were Peyton Siva and Russ Smith, and sorry, someone just came down. Great big man, Gorgie Jang and Montrezl Harrell, and then they had that knockdown shooter, Luke Hancock. I don't know if you remember him. He had that great tournament run.
White boy.
Exactly. So yeah, he was just like typical like college knockdown shooter. So yeah, that's one of the teams I mentioned, and then I have the 2010 Kentucky team, DeMarcus Cousins and Wall. Just think third 2 guard was Eric Bledsoe, and he's doing great in the NBA, and he was like behind John Wall, so that's crazy. They had Patrick Patterson, who was a great center. And then I have the 2015 Kentucky team. I don't know if you remember, they like when they started out the year, they would put 5 guys in and then sub 5 right in for them.
Yeah.
Which is like no one would even consider doing that. Like, it's just not what you do. Like, I think like Devin Booker was like coming off the bench. It was just insane.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, like I think in the tournament they stopped doing that, but that's how deep they were. They had the Harrison twins, who were real good in college, and then Tyler Ulis, who isn't a great NBA player, but when he stayed, he received a ton of accolades and was just a great college point guard, awesome defender. So yeah, those are my 3 teams: 2010 Louisville, 2010 Kentucky, and 2015 Kentucky.
Yep.
One team I think that kind of went under the radar for this. I mean, I don't feel like many people would pick them, but last year's Virginia team, I think they went 35-4. I think their record was, and won the national title. And especially coming off their upsetting year before, where they lost in the tournament as the 1 seed to the 16th seed for the first time ever, and to bounce back like that I'm pretty sure most of their guys returned from that team. That was one of the more impressive seasons I can remember.
Yeah.
I also want to say, the 2018 Nova team, I would have taken. I just wanted to talk about some other teams, but yeah, that team was absolutely loaded, and so I would definitely have that one on my list. They're probably the best. But
and I think Villanova was 1 Amari Spellman suspension away from a 3-peat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
One could argue.
And that
I forgot about that.
That 2016 year, they had Pascal was redshirting and DiVincenzo was hurt. So they still had that. They had Archie Diacono, they had Brunson, they had Hart, they had Jenkins. Like that team was loaded, but those DiVincenzo and Pascal, who are 2 solid NBA players now, weren't even playing back then because of injuries and redshirt. But all right, that'll do it for our best college basketball team segment. Now we're going to move on to who was the best player you played against in high school, and we're going to start off with Brendan. Who is your pick?
We were just talking about him, but I played Mikal Bridges in high school. He played for Great Valley in a Christmas tournament, so that was really cool playing against him. He's in the NBA now. He's on the Suns, and he had a pretty good first year. Yeah, and he was on the all-time teams we were just talking about. So that's gonna be Mikal Bridges.
Yeah. It's got to be the top pick. Saw him in the Ocean Drive in Seattle this summer. My drunk ass was bothering him. I don't even know what I was saying. I think I was saying something along the lines of like, after the Sixers should have never traded you. And he was just agreeing. He probably wanted nothing to do with me.
Hey, I mean, they probably shouldn't have, right? So
I still can't believe they drafted him. Like, his mom worked for the Sixers, and like they were all over Twitter talking about it, and then 30 minutes later, yeah, we traded you.
it was one of the few.
Zaire Smith.
It was one of the few like draft
like
picks.
3 games.
It was like one of the few draft picks that Philly team made where like no one was mad. Like everyone was like a good pick, and then 20 minutes later,
a homegrown kid coming back to town. He can shoot the three and defend. Just what we need. Boom, gone.
So let's trade him for freaking peanut allergy.
People were too happy with it that they felt like they needed him to cause some havoc.
Yeah,
we need chaos in the city. All right, yeah. So the best high school player I played against, I saw a sneak peek of what Ryan had, so I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. I'm going with Simeon Fryer, and he was. I remember watching him when I was a sophomore and I was still on JV, and he was just like catching lobs as a sophomore, just like dominating. And then junior year, played against him, and he had a fast break against me. Literally just like one dribble, bumped me. I gotta go flying. I weigh like 120 pounds. There's just 2-hand rim grazer, but like.
Wait, who was this?
Simeon Fryer.
Oh, Simeon. Okay, your internet connection cut out. I couldn't hear. Okay, Simeon.
I have a funny story.
Fryer, so.
I was
Where is Simeon doing these days? I didn't even. Did he wind up playing college basketball?
I don't know, but in 8th grade, we played Upper Dublin, and my friend was so obsessed with the fact that he could dunk in 8th grade, and he got a picture with him.
He was good, but like he never like made my jaw drop. Like I always thought he was a good player, but I always thought he was kind of overrated.
He was a great player.
Yeah, if he ended up actually playing at PW our senior, me and Brendan's senior year, that PW run would have been even more dominant than it was. They lost 2 games that year, one to Roman Catholic and the other to the powerhouse Upper Marion. So I don't think we would have sold that win if they had Simeon Fryer there to help Xavier Millen.
Not many people went into that Upper Marion gymnasium and won games.
Tough place to play with all those fans.
So my best player I went up against in high school was we touched on him earlier, Xavier Malone, key guard forward from PW. He originally went to Ryder, but now he's at FTU. He's had a pretty solid career. He was one of the players. He led them to the NCAA tournament last year, actually. He was just kind of a man amongst boys, I think you could say. He was never like a strong guy, but 6'5" and just freak athlete. He could jump out of the gym. And he was one of those guys I remember on the scouting report where it was like Brendan was saying, like play off him, make him shoot, and kind of he just because if you try to press up on him, he would just go right by you and dunk it, or they would throw lobs to him and stuff. But if you made him shoot a 3, that was kind of your best bet. But he was still a knockdown shooter. I remember it was my sophomore year. It was one of our first games of the year. We always, for some reason, opened up the league for PW.
Brutal.
Yeah, and our coach pulls up the film, and it's like, all right, be ready for this play, first play of the game. And they're kind of just like passing it back and forth, like casually. And then all you see is like a back screen and Malone go like flying over the top for like a 2-hand alley-oop. And you're like, oh, shit.
I vividly remember watching that play.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he was insane. I for some reason, I don't think he played in that tournament game last year. I don't know.
Yeah. So last year, he didn't play in the – so they were like in the 16 versus 16 playing game, and they won that to move to this 1 versus 16. But I don't remember why he was held out of both of those games. But
he was like their second leading scorer.
Yeah, he's one of the key cogs on their team. So I still don't know what happened, but he's definitely – he hasn't like – I feel like being from this area, I feel like in high school I would have played against some maybe better players, but at the time I think Xavier was definitely one of the more dominant kids. And him being a lefty as well, he was like harder to guard. And
Yeah.
kind of at the high
He
school
scored
level, you don't really have you don't, unless you're like a Catholic League team, you don't have a guy from like a public school that you could throw at the 6'4", 6'5" like wing who can score from all over the place.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could score from everywhere on the floor.
Another
Like,
thing before you got it.
Who did like Brennan? Who did we even have guard him? Like, did we play?
We just played his own.
We had to play his own.
Yeah, it was not. He was full court press me the one time, and it wasn't fun because I would
Gotta be
say
fun. You hear Black or Hurricane in that gym, you just want to just leave. You want to leave.
yeah.
I just when you said full court press, it reminded me of this year when we were playing. We played Seton Hall, and Quincy McKnight, the point guard for Seton Hall, was like guarding me full court, and like I turned it over, and my coach took me out, and I was just like so upset. But then like as I watched this season, like you hear like Gus Johnson and Bill Rafferty talk like, this guy's the best guard and our best defensive guard in the Big East. He's probably gonna win Big East Defensive Player of the Year, and I was just like, ah, shit. Like it was just kind of one of those like funny moments where.
Wait, you guys played a preseason game against Seton Hall?
Yeah, we played.
Insane.
Tell him the score.
It was an exhibition game. We lost 112-38. But they scheduled us again for this season as like their first like regular season game of the year. So they're gonna open up their regular season against us. It'll probably be
40 of Cougars, maybe.
So last year was exhibition, so they had like a reason to, I guess, kind of hold it back. I feel like the game could have been, and also their head coach serving a 1-game suspension, so he wasn't even there when we played them. So Willard will be there this year, and
there's a spread. There's a spread. I'm taking Mr. Cordier and the points.
Yeah,
it's got to be like plus 70.
I don't know if it'll be. I feel like it'll be like 4. I feel like they'll be like minus like 40.5. But
I know what
I'm not gonna say my team. So take us with the points.
Yeah.
All right, we've been kind of going pretty long for this show so far. So let's try and move a little quick through this segment. It's the last segment. We've done this before on the show, Would You Rather, but this time we're going to do some Would You Rathers for like NBA all-time players and throw in a little NBA draft talk as well for the Sixers. So the first question is, would you rather have Reggie Miller or Ray Allen as your shooting guard? Brennan, why don't you start us off with that?
Yeah, I saw this question. It's a really tough one, but because Ray Allen's just like maybe the best three-point shooter to ever live. Well, I guess Steph's taken that up, but I still think I would take Reggie Miller. He can just do everything on the floor, like pull up, drive, basically do everything. I don't know if you guys have watched the 30 for 30 about him killing the Knicks, but just super clutch player, and so I'm gonna say I would take Reggie Miller.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really. It's tough to pick between these two. They're very similar. I saw they both averaged around like 18 a game through their career, shot about 40% from three. But I just think during the playoffs, I saw Reggie average 20 and Ray Allen averaged 16. I feel like Reggie always had more, throughout his career at least, had more of a premier role. Like once Ray got to Boston and even the years Miami, like he had to take in Boston, not necessarily a backseat, but like there was more to go around. But
you could say that. I think he would take a backseat.
So, I saw Ray's also a 10-time All-Star compared to Reggie's 5. I think Reggie paved the way for Ray Allen to be what he was. And based on my previous takes with my recency bias, I think I'm going to continue that, and I'm going to take Ray Allen.
Yeah, I would have taken Reggie as well, just because kind of what you said, Connor, that he had more of a premier role. Ray Allen at the beginning of his career when he was at the Bucks and the Sonics was kind of more of an all-around like dynamic scorer. But as he got to the latter half of his career with the Celtics and the Heat, he was definitely he was a role player. I mean, it's not something like that you could argue like Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce were the go-to guys for the Celtics, and LeBron and D-Wade were for the Heat. D-Wade kind of played third fiddle on both of those teams. Or not D-Wade, Ray Allen played third fiddle on both of those teams. And I feel like Reggie Miller had more of like you could ISO him, and he was better coming off screens and being able to do more than just spot up shoot as his career went on. And I feel like he would have been, if you're in need of more of a playmaker and like a guy who can score different ways other than just coming off screens and spot up shooting, Reggie Miller would have been your guy.
Yeah.
And so our next topic of discussion, we're going to move on to a little draft talk. So for the Sixers, as of right now, they traded the Oklahoma City Thunder one of their picks in a previous trade. I think it might have been in the Jeremy Grant deal. But as of right now, the Thunder are in position to make the playoffs. So the Sixers will retain that pick. So would you rather the Sixers draft point guard Nico Mannion with that pick? This is in between like 20 and 23 range of picks. But point guard Nico Mannion from Arizona or point guard Cassius Winston from Michigan State? Connor, you can start us off on this one.
All right, yeah. So I looked into both of them a little bit more than what I've watched this year. I feel like I'm kind of sick of the Sixers having those undersized point guards that just like really, like it started off with like Isaiah Cannon, then it moved on to Sergio Rodriguez, TJ McConnell, and now Raul Neto. Like we always have some smaller guy. I wouldn't mind having a more athletic, taller guy running the backup point guard position. Cassius is a better shooter, I'd say, but he's also 4 years older than Nico is. So I think Nico could develop that shot. So yeah, I think his upside could be there. So I wouldn't mind the Sixers taking more of a risk on Nico in that slot. Even though, Cassius clearly has had the more successful college career, I think Nico could be something more at the next level.
I think that you make all really good points, but I think I would take Cassius just because I feel like he's like kind of what the Sixers would need right now, just like a backup point guard that can shoot the three, be a leader for the guys, like in his second team role. So yeah, I think I would take Cassius. I didn't really watch a lot of Nico Mannion, just like being that he's placed in the Pac-12, but and I watched a lot of Cassius, so I would take him. Cassius.
All right, yeah. I like what you're saying, Connor, about how Nico has more like upside and he's a younger player, but I'm gonna side with you on this one, Brendan, and say Cassius, just because I feel like Nico is like a project more. Like he's got potential and he's got more upside than Winston, but what you're gonna get from Cassius, and I feel like the Sixers have not been able to, at least since they got Ben Simmons, find that guy behind him where they could just throw him in there for 10 to 12 minutes a game and rely on him to take care of the ball, hit some outside shots consistently, and distribute it to guys like Joel or Tobias. And I feel like Winston fits that description, and he would be more suited to be a backup. I feel like Mannion, obviously you might want to take the player with more potential and who could become the better player in the end, but for a win now team like the Sixers have built their organization as, I feel like Winston fits in that description better. Yeah,
I was gonna say the main flaw with Nico is you would have to probably wait for him to develop, and yeah, we are in win now mode, so definitely could go either way there too.
All right, our next one is kind of a fun one coming from three undersized white guys, played basketball. Who on your team would you rather have as your gritty white guy? TJ McConnell or Aaron Craft? Brendan, you can lead us off on this one.
Aaron Craft wasn't drafted, right?
He wasn't drafted. He might have.
I guess I would just. Yeah, I guess I would take TJ. I wasn't a huge fan of TJ when he was here, just because it's not what we needed. But I have so much respect for him. Just a great pull-up jumper. He rarely misses that. And he's one of the few guys in the league that'll pick the point guard up full court. So, and he actually gets some steals. So, I would take TJ.
Yeah, I agree with Ben here. I would take TJ. I don't even know. Did Aaron ever really like play in the NBA?
I don't think so.
I can look it up.
But no, TJ's been in the league for like 5-6 years now.
Yeah.
Aaron Craft's playing like the throwback basketball tournament. But no, I wasn't really a big TJ fan either. Like I was at the Sixers Pacers game this year, and there was fans like behind me cheer in a close game, literally cheering on TJ McConnell when he scored, and I was like getting so mad. I was furious in my seat. But yeah, he's one of those guys you want on your team, but you don't want him to play on your team. A great locker room guy, but if you're competing for the finals, I don't think you want either of these guys getting minutes. But I would gotta go TJ here. I think
Kraft is currently in Italy playing, and
plays for FC Barcelona, right? Of the Adriatic League. I just made that up. I
was gonna say I think I saw that.
TJ might be following him soon.
Yeah.
Kraft in 2015 broke the assist record in the Las Vegas Summer League. Interesting.
That's a high honor. Not many guys have been able to claim that. But with this selection, I mean, I was probably the biggest TJ McConnell fan. I had a shirt made up of him on the Wildwood Boardwalk. It's a picture of him after he made the buzzer beater versus the Knicks, one like that, and it says "GOAT" underneath it. So I was just a huge fan of him, but I think he fell into like a perfect situation with the Sixers, where he would kind of be one of those guys who would be out of the league right now and playing overseas if he joined the process Sixers, who's just taking flyers on all those guys. I feel like if Kraft was in his situation, he would have done just as good, if not better. Aaron Kraft was one of the best college basketball players I've ever watched, just based off pure hustle and being able to play the point guard position well. And he was like that guy that my dad would always tell me, like, if you want to like know how to play basketball, like watch Aaron Kraft, like model your game.
Watch him slide his feet on D.
He
always stays in front.
Just be fundamentally sound. All that bullshit. But I think I would rather have Kraft. I just think he could do more for your team. And I think if he was in TJ's situation, he would have panned out a little bit better than he has. But all the props to TJ for doing what he's done in the league so far, and hopefully for a few more years to come. He signed a pretty decent contract with the Pacers, and he probably set himself up for he probably won't ever have to go overseas and play professionally to make money. He's probably pretty set for life.
Yeah, maybe take on a coaching role somewhere.
Yeah, something like that. Definitely a team guy. I believe his dad was a big time like high school or college coach as well. So he's probably going to try and follow in those footsteps, and he's got unlimited connections now since it was.
Yeah, I think he started at Robert Morris, right?
No, he played at Duquesne.
Duquesne, I know something out there.
Yeah, he's like a Pittsburgh guy, but then he eventually went down to Arizona. He's one of like all-time leading scorers in Pennsylvania history. But our next would you rather the Sixers draft this is presumed with the Sixers have one of the first picks of the second round through a trade, or they could take one of these guys with that first round pick, like I said, from Oklahoma City. This is up in the front court. A forward/center from Duke, Vernon Carey, would you rather, or the forward Reggie Perry from Mississippi State? Connor, you can lead us off here.
So this is hard for me. I didn't really know much about Reggie Perry. I mean, both are like to play the 4, maybe a smaller 5, I'd say. But based on what I saw, Vernon Carey is definitely younger, a little bit bigger, but I like Perry's jump shot a little bit more. And I saw he made a huge jump between the freshman and sophomore year. He went from 9 points per game to 18. So if he can continue on that path of development, that'd be huge. So I think I'm leaning towards Reggie Perry based on what I saw. So I don't think that would be a bad pick for the Sixers. Develop a young big that can shoot the three a little bit.
I would take Vernon Carey. We talked a little bit about him last podcast, but yeah, he's just a guy that can get a bucket if you need it. Duke went to him as their low post guy. He can shoot a nice mid range, and I think he averaged like 19 points per game. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, it was like 19.8.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I would take Vernon, and I think he shot really high he was very efficient. A lot of low post scoring, so that's gonna bump your stats up a little bit. But so I would take Vernon.
Yeah, I like Carey as a player. I think he's kind of underrated so far in the draft process, and I think he's gonna help a lot of teams out. But for the Sixers position, I like Perry better. I just think he's more of an athlete, and like Connor was saying, I feel like he's got a better outside looking stroke, where he could develop that more. And with his me and Brennan, we talked about last show how Carey's kind of not the best athlete, and he's like kind of appears like out of shape. Perry's more athletic. He looks like more fit, and he could be suitable to guard more positions. And I feel like the Sixers need more athletes like that on their team going forward.
Yeah.
So our last question of the night: would you rather play for? I tried to pick two of the best coaches of our lifetime. Would you rather play for Greg Popovich or Phil Jackson? Brendan, you can start us off.
I'm gonna go with Popovich. I think he's the best coach ever. Phil has the championships on him, but Greg has 5 for himself and literally was the centerpiece of their dynasty. I think it was like 16, 17, 18 years. So I'm going to go with Greg. I know he's really hard on his players and especially his stars. Like, you rarely see a coach, like, flip out on their star. Like, I remember I've seen videos of him screaming at, like, Tim Duncan. But I would take Greg Popovich.
Yeah, I agree with Brendan. I know Phil Jackson probably has the accolades on Popovich, but Phil also started off with that dominant Bulls team with Jordan, Pippen, and everybody, and then went on to coach Kobe and Shaq.
Yeah.
And Popovich, obviously he had Hall of Famers too, but not to that level, like in the GOAT conversation. I think he's probably the most respected coach. I mean, definitely the most respected coach in the league right now. And yeah, like Brennan said, he talks to his players unlike other players would, but that's just because he can, because of what he's accomplished. And the players just own it. And, I mean, I feel like the players love playing for him, unless your name's Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
It's so weird how that happened. I don't know.
Yeah.
One of the main things about Phil Jackson that I really wouldn't like playing for him was like his offensive system with like the triangle. It was kind of just around like a wing player and a big man down low, and I guess kind of another offset like guard. But I feel like that system wouldn't fit that many players, and I feel like just as a player myself, playing for a guy like Popovich, where I feel like I'm not trying to compare myself to, but I feel like my game would have been kind of like Tony Parker's, where never really like a great outside shooter, but kind of just drive to the hoop and try and get your teammates involved on driving kicks, stuff like that. Where I feel like could have fit well in there and help like share the ball and set up my other guys on the Spurs. And another great thing I liked about the Spurs was how they've always been like a great like player development system. And I was always a player who I feel like I like to work hard and try and get better. And I feel like the Spurs are one of those teams who historically have done that at the highest level. And Popovich would have definitely been a coach who I feel like could have advanced my game more than Phil Jackson, who, like you were saying, Connor, kind of took in guys like Jordan, Kobe, Shaq, Pippen, who were historically great players already, and he kind of just fell into a good situation. And Popovich kind of built that team from the ground up.
Yeah.
11 championships is crazy, though.
Yeah, Popovich had me thinking Jonathan Simmons was the next big thing that one series.
What,
I forget even when that was.
Wait, what happened?
Remember when he had Jonathan Simmons looking like a baller out there?
Oh yeah. He
Like,
And then
can't.
he
everybody was
signed
like,
the max deal with like the Magic, and then got traded to the Sixers, and who knows where it is now.
Yeah, I do remember that.
yeah, it all comes back to Markel.
But yeah, like you were saying, Kawhi's development, Manu's development, Tony Parker's development, Derek
Hopefully,
White now.
Yeah, Lonnie Walker. Hopefully,
Yeah.
I also like DeJounte Murray a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
the
didn't know.
Spurs have a lot of young guards, I think, where they could maybe get a guy through a trade or free agency, like a big time, like already star player that could help with those young players. I think they could be back to the normal Spurs ways in the next few years.
Yeah, they're in such like an in between stage right now down there with like DeMar in LA
Uh-huh.
and like LaMarcus Aldridge playing alongside all those young guys. Like I don't know if they want to rebuild or try to be an 8 seed just to get bounced in the first round.
Yeah. All right. You guys got anything else you want to add before we head out?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, that's all I got. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. If you like the video, obviously like it, subscribe. Once NFL draft's done, we're going to try and start pushing out some more NBA content. Hopefully we have a better feeling of what the season is going to look like, or the offseason with the draft and free agency, whatnot. But as we go, we'll continue to provide you updates and put out some videos for you guys. And thanks for viewing, and hope you all stay safe.
Yeah, everyone stay safe.
Social distance.